Dames en heren, wij zijn bijzonder verheugd om als gastspreker helemaal uit de Verenigde Staten een topstrateeg en dito-adviseur in het anti-migratiemilieu te verwelkomen. Mag ik u vragen om een daverend applaus voor STEVE BANNON.
Paris is burning, London's in crisis, and the Marrakesh Global Compact on migration is dead before it's signed. In the small villages, the rural areas of France, and the streets of Paris, the gilets jaunes, the deplorables of France, the exact same type of people that elected Donald Trump to be president of the United States in 2016, the same type of people that voted for Brexit, that want to have control of their countries, that want to believe in the nation state, people that believe in the value of the citizenship of a nation state, are speaking today. I don't think we understand the historic nature of the next couple of days. In Latin America right now, Eduardo Bolsonaro, Captain Bolsonaro's son, a young man who just got more votes in Parliament, in Congress, in Brazil, in the history of that country, is convening a conference. And that conference is of like-minded, patriot movements in individual countries in Latin America to stand up against the cultural Marxist globalists that are trying to destroy their individual countries, whether that's Chile, Peru, Brazil, Argentina. We have this conference today in Italy. Matteo Salvini is in a rally with tens of thousands of Italians right now. And what's the purpose of that? To reinforce the value of Italian citizenship and the importance of the nation state. Marine Le Pen said it best. Politics today is not left and right. Politics today is not conservative and liberal. It's not about progressives or reactionaries. It's about those who see the nation state as an obstacle to be overcome, and those that see it as a jewel to be polished and nurtured. This is a conflict on a global basis. And we, who support the nation state and citizenship value, are not only on the right side of that fight, we are on the right side of the tide of history. Here's what the globalists have. The party of Davos, that scientific, managerial, engineering, financial, cultural elite and all the arrogance. They have money, they have capital, right? They have expertise, they have all the smartest people, right? That's what they tell us every day. They have all the smartest people. And they have the opposition party media, right? The propaganda arm. The propaganda arm of the globalist project. Here's what they don't have. They do not have working men and women in these countries. That is the backbone of our society. Whether it's in Hungary or Italy or France or England, Belgium, or the United States of America. The foundation of our society is working men and women in the middle class. Finally, in politicians like Salvini and Orban and Le Pen and Bolsonaro, and Trump, the voiceless finally have somebody in the room that negotiates for them. Why do you think all those individuals are so hated? Why do you think they're smeared? Why do you think they're denigrated? Called xenophobes and nativists and racist, anti-Semites, day in and day out, no matter what the facts are, what their actions are, what the results of their actions are. It's never going to be good enough for the opposition party media of the globalist project. Donald Trump would not be president of the United States if it was not for this issue that we talk about today. When I stepped into the campaign, we simplified the campaign to be about three things. Number one, stop mass illegal immigration and limit legal immigration to get our sovereignty back and to protect our workers. African American and Hispanic working class people against mass illegal immigration, and tech workers against legal immigration. Number two was bring back manufacturing jobs. Number three was get us out of these pointless foreign wars. Remember, the globalist project not only rejects the nation state, it rejects the concept of individual citizenship in that nation state. My Czech colleague said it best. They look at this merely as administrative units, right? To be more efficiently run, more efficiently managed for their project. Besides the bounds of culture and civilization and what these individual nations stand for. And as we can see from Hungary and Austria and the Czech Republic and Poland and Italy and Brazil and Israel and the United States and the United Kingdom, and yes, in Pakistan, and now coming to Asia. A total rejection of that project and a reinforcement of the jewel that Marine Le Pen talked about, the jewel that is the nation state and the jewel that is the citizenship of that nation state. One of the things I'm proudest of is that one of the last things I worked on, and I believe the United States was the first, in the rejection of the Marrakesh United Nations Global Compact on Migration. It was basically 1 year ago, and we had all these different reasons. They were laid out in the film at the beginning, more clearly than I can articulate. But the centerpiece was, at the heart of a country, at the heart of citizenship, is control of your borders and the citizens' determination of that country of what its migration policy is going to be. You cannot outsource this to the party of Davos. But more importantly than that was this whole concept of the scam the UN's been running for decades and decades and decades. That these compacts don't mean anything. Oh, you just got to come in. They really don't stand for anything. You just sign up, you know. It's all nonsense. They know it's nonsense. And finally, we have leaders like Orban and Le Pen and Trump that are prepared to say, we've had enough. We're not going to do that anymore. That's the power of this moment. The power of this moment is the rejection of that. What I'm most proud of is two nations built on immigration, but citizenship of those immigrants, and doing it in a controlled fashion, in a legal fashion. Australia and the United States were at the leadership of rejecting this. Look, I'm Irish with a little German in me, right? As we say in my family, we got kicked out of every decent country in Europe. But My relatives came over in a legal process. That's the difference. The United States and the citizens of the United States at that time set what the framework is. That's all the individual nation states are asking for. And yet they're demonized as racist. They're demonized as xenophobes. They're demonized as nativist. And here's the most cynical part of Marrakesh. It actually started, I think in 2006, with an idea that wasn't a bad idea. It's an idea we have to address. I've said this many times in the United States about our southern border. There's no one in this room, there's no leader of any political movement in Europe, the United States, or Latin America that doesn't agree. We're talking about a great human tragedy in sub-Saharan Africa and in Central America. You're among the most generous people on earth. No one's saying it's not a tragedy. But the original concept is we must work together to solve it in the countries where the problem is. The solution for the economic and political problems of sub-Saharan Africa are not and cannot be on the shoulders of working class people in Italy, France, Hungary, and Austria. We have to work together to solve the problem there. The most insidious part of all the insidious parts of this migrant compact is the pushing of their entrepreneurs, their scientists, their researchers, their college professors to the West. It is the human capital that will eventually allow us in concert to make those nations great again. But that's not the globalist project. The globalist project is imperialist in its very nature. And it has the false patina of being humanitarian. It's anything but humanitarian. What it's going to do and what it has done is condemn those nations to servitude and modern slavery. The globalist project on migration is all about lowering wages. It has made their multinational corporations and the capitalists in back of them wealthy. It's enslaved and put in servitude the people in those nations, whether in Central America or in Sub-Saharan Africa. And it has suppressed wages among working class people in the United States and in Europe. The rejection of this and the anger that's come about because of it is because working class people are rational. It's the political parties of Orban and Salvini and Le Pen and Trump and Kurz and others that understand that the working class have just as much intelligence as the party of Davos. I come from a working class family in the United States that immigrated over, that were Democrats for many, many, many decades. I had the great opportunity to eventually, after my naval service, to go to the great universities of Georgetown and Harvard. And I had the opportunity in working with Goldman Sachs to be in the boardrooms where all these decisions were made, and eventually at the Pentagon and at other places to be where the decisions are made. If you give me the choice to be governed by the first 100 people that come to a Trump rally with a red ball cap, or the first 100 gilets jaunes that come to Paris today, or the first 100 top partners at Goldman Sachs, or the first 100 that go to the party at Davos, give me the deplorables and give me the gilets jaunes. We'll have a more humanitarian, a better country, more economically prosperous. It's very simple. They have more grit, more determination. They understand more about human nature. They've had to struggle more. They're more compassionate. They're the kind of people that the Judeo-Christian West has developed and is based upon. That is our foundation. And now, for the first time, they have a voice in Orban, Matteo, Salvini, Le Pen, Trump, Bolsonaro, and others. I want to thank you very much for having me here today. I'm greatly honored.